Myton Hospices before. What is Myton Hospices and what do they do?
Sure. So the Myton Hospices has a variety of different services that we offer. I guess the main one that people think of when they think of a hospice is our inpatient unit, which is an IPU for short, which is where people can come in and stay either for symptom control, pain management, or for the end of their life. So patients can come in, spend a week at Myton, get the doctors and nurses to get their medication at a right level, ease their symptoms, and they can go home and carry on living at home, or they can come in for the last few days or weeks of their life and die here. We also have our Myton at Home service, which is where nurses go out to people in their home. So most people want to die in the comfort of their own home around people that they love, with their family supporting them. So it's really important for us that we're able to facilitate that for people that want it. We also have our Rugby Myton Support Hub based in Rugby, which offers all of our wellbeing services. So that could be physiotherapy, it could be even just something as simple as a coffee and chat with people going through a similar thing. The amount of case studies and stories that I've shared with people that do go to our Rugby Support Hub, the main thing for them is the connection to other people that are going through a very similar thing. And I think when you are diagnosed with a terminal or life-limiting illness, I think it's a very lonely and scary journey. To kind of connect with other people that are going through very similar things, it means an awful lot.
What does looking after the family sort of entail?
We have a lot more time, I think, than in the acute sector. We have less beds, which is something we're hoping to increase with our current appeal that's going on, but we have more time than you do get in the acute sector. We are specialised in what we do from both the doctors and the nursing staff, because we will have now quite a lot of experience in looking after people. So we offer things for patients and with the relatives. We offer counselling service. We have a complementary therapy team that not only will give the patients treatment, but will also, in some cases, give the family treatment if that helps them with managing their way through. We have a child bereavement service, as well as the adult bereavement service. So lots of things like that. And we also have places where people can stay over. If they want to stay overnight, they can stay in the rooms. We have no limit on visiting. Anybody can visit, including the animals. We've had various different animals come to visit. So it's much more, we're trying to make it as much as a home from home as we can do.
So what is palliative and end-of-life care, and how do these help patients and their families?
So anybody who has been diagnosed with any illness that there is no cure for is classed as a palliative patient, and that can be across a wide range of illnesses and diseases. Most people associate palliative care with people with cancer, and the vast majority of our patients do have a cancer diagnosis of some kind, but we also have patients that have other life-limiting illnesses such as MND, Parkinson's, end-stage renal failure, end-stage heart failure, that kind of thing. So although a lot of people think it's just cancer, it isn't. It's anything that doesn't have a cure.
So it's not just the end of life. We're there from the minute that they've been told that there is no cure. And we're not just there for the patient, we're there for their family too. We think of the family as an extension to the patient. They're equally as important to us, which I think you can't really get anywhere else other than our hospice. So it's vitally important that the family is there and in a good mental state to care for their loved one if that's what they want to do.
So what we're about is, as an organisation, we believe that everybody matters for every minute of their life, and we focus on keeping somebody comfortable and palliating their symptoms as opposed to a cure. And we get patients in at various stages of their illnesses, so they can come into us for some symptom management. So if they're changing, their condition is changing, their symptoms are changing, they might need their medications looking at, and we have specialist doctors that can do that. So we have a lot of people that come in and go home again. And I think that's another thing about Myton that people don't realise. We have a lot of discharges. So we see people at various stages of that journey. And ultimately, we offer end-of-life care for those people that have reached that part of their life. And we look after families as well as the patients. We like to think that we can make a difference and we can make this journey for them that is really incredibly difficult the best it can be.
What does your community fundraising look like?
So community fundraising is kind of what it says on the tin. Community fundraising involves all the people in the community. So we have a team of fundraisers and they deal with WIs, schools, community groups, choirs, concerts, anything that anybody in the community wants to do to fundraise for us, and we help them on their journey. So they'll come to us, they'll ask us to help with the help of the marketing team, sometimes design some flyers and what have you to help them promote it. We promote on social media, and our fundraising teams will help those teams on their journey. They'll help advise them on what to do, provide balloons, attend a talk to a WI to tell them all about Myton and what their support means, what the money they raise can help us achieve. And just really to be there and help the members of the community, many of whom are people who have been affected by Myton. That quite often seems to be a lot of the support from the community side of things. It's people organise events when they've been touched by our services, whether that's a loved one of their own or a loved one's friend or what have you. So
I don't think people realise we are not funded by the NHS. We are not the NHS. We are a charity, and every year we need to raise £11 million to keep our services free of charge. All of our services are free to all of our patients, all of their families, everybody that comes in. We don't charge, but we are not funded by the NHS. So it's really important for us to be able to keep giving the services that we give, that people support us. And we have amazing support from the local community. We have amazing support from people that have used our services. We have amazing support from people that know about us. But that's just if people can be aware, if they can support us in any way. There's so many fundraising events that we have, and if they could help us in any of those, it would be really, really appreciated.
How can people find out and get involved in these fundraising schemes?
Best way to do is to just go straight to our website, www.mytonhospice.org, and everything you need about getting involved from a community aspect, from a corporate aspect. All the events that we have, that we host ourselves are on there, but also on the corporate pages and the community pages is ideas for fundraising. But the key thing is reach out to the teams, speak to the main reception if you need to, just call the team and we'll help in any way to make anything possible, really.
So you've recently launched an urgent appeal. Can you tell us a bit about what this is and why it's so important?
Yeah, sure. So we recently launched an urgent appeal to raise £240,000, which will fund the recruitment, training and salary of 5 registered nurses for a year. We've launched it just to ensure that people who need a hospice bed within Coventry and Warwickshire can access one when they need it. We are not the NHS, we are a charity, and we only get 20% of our funding from the NHS. So this year alone we're having to raise £11 million just to continue carrying on our existing services free of charge. And we are the only inpatient bed facility in Coventry and Warwickshire. And we know that there is demand for more beds, but we just can't offer them up right now due to the funding constraints. And so it was really important for us to launch the urgent appeal so more people in Coventry and Warwickshire can access a bed when they need it, both now and in the future.
What has been an exciting fundraising scheme that you've been involved in?
Oh, there's been loads. I mean, the last sort of 5-6 years, we've done 3 Butterfly Effects, which is a biannual big campaign for Myton. The first one was done at Coventry Cathedral, and it was taking what was, we saw, remember the poppies from the flower poppies in the towers of London? So we had butterflies coming down the side of Coventry Cathedral, which was really, really amazing. We got coverage across the globe from it. We got lots of TV and television coverage. That was brilliant. We were part of the team who put that together. So the Butterfly Effect is a thing where we have these metal butterflies made. People buy them in memory of a loved one. The butterfly then forms part of the installation, and when it comes down, the people collect on the end day, or we send it to them. But that was really cool to be involved with, because we turned up on the morning with these guys that were supporting us from this other company, and we just had a load of bits of bendy metal and some mesh, and we had to work out how to create a structure and put it up against the cathedral. So that was really good, and a really lovely campaign because it's an in-memory one. I think that sort of stands out as well. We do that every couple of years, so I think Butterfly Effect stands out really well. And for me as well, one other thing that was really good was when COVID broke, all of a sudden our fundraising we couldn't fundraise. Businesses weren't there, communities weren't there doing stuff, so it's like, well, what do we do? I came up with this great idea, I thought it was a great idea. It did turn out to be quite good. It was a thing called Myton Mountain. So it was an online challenge asking people, I worked out the equivalent of how, if you climbed a traditional flight of stairs up and down each time, like if you did it like 500 times, it would be Snowdon 1,000 times to beat Everest, etc. We set up this challenge and we raised over £12,000
Wow.
right at the start of COVID by people, and one lady was doing it. She did it in a different fancy dress every day. Another lady got her dog to do it, and another lady, her little boy, did it, and she now works for us. She's then gone, her passion for Myton sort of came from that and association. She now works for Myton as well, so that was pretty cool.
So what does an inpatient unit tend to look like, and what sort of is available?
Yeah, well, currently, as I say, when we are fully staffed and able to staff all of the beds, we have a couple of rooms that are double rooms. Most of the rooms are single rooms, but we do have occasionally where we have a double room. So the maximum we can have in one room is 2 people, which again is completely different to a hospital setting. All of our rooms have their own bathrooms, so they have their own toilet, their own sink. And we have, they all look out onto, we have patio doors. Every room looks out onto the garden. We've got a beautiful garden here at Myton, which is looked after by some of our amazing volunteers. And every room looks out onto the garden. So it's not sitting in the room with grey painted walls. Everybody has the opportunity to see the beautiful wildlife in the gardens. We've got a little nature reserve at the back, and we get all sorts of creatures coming into the garden. So, and all of our beds can go out if the weather is good. There's patios outside each room, so the beds can go out if people need to be in bed. We can take patients out in chairs, or they can walk out if they're able to. So it's a completely different, it's a really nice setting for people, nice and peaceful.
On site we have complementary therapy, so that could be a hand massage, a head massage. And that's not just offered to our patients, to the families too, if they're going through a stressful time, which inevitably they are. Something to just kind of take a bit of pressure off. And we also have physiotherapy and occupational therapy to make sure that the patients are happy in their day-to-day life, and they're able to move their body comfortably. We have our respite service, so that is a week-long respite for people that aren't at the end of life, but their family might need a bit of respite from the day-to-day, and that can be for 2 weeks, up to 2 weeks a year for a planned stay. And we have our activities coordinator over at our Myton Hospice as well, that can kind of get their interest, even if it is just a walk in our garden. They're able to go out, go for a walk, kind of get a bit of fresh air, see some nature, because we're very lucky to be surrounded by amazing greenery. Or even if it's just a puzzle, or which you can do hand casts. There was one story of this lovely man who had MND, and he knew that he was losing the mobility in his hands. And he wanted this hand cast done of him and his wife holding hands, for her to keep for after he's gone, for something to remember him by. And for him, it was a real achievement for her to be able to capture that moment of them holding hands, because soon that wasn't going to be possible. So anything like that, we offer. Patients can bring in their pets. I'm a really big dog lover. If my dog can't come and see me when I'm ill, that would be awful for me. But to have pets come in, we've even had horses come to the hospice. So yeah, anything that's important to the patient is important to us, and we help to facilitate anything that they want to do.
There's so many. I think people will talk about all the various different animals we have. I remember when I first started, I loved the fact I'm a dog lover, and I loved the fact that people could have their pet in the bed. I know you can't do that at a hospital, and for me that blew my mind that someone could have their dog in a bed with them. Second to that, I think, is that we, not the Christmas just gone, the one before, I'd seen these things called cuddle beds, which are like a traditional hospice bed, but they fold out to double. So a loved one can actually lie in bed and cuddle their other loved one. And one of the stories that, again, from when I sort of first joined Myton, I think, was I heard about a gentleman who'd lost his wife, and she died at Myton, and he'd had help through the support of our amazing counselling service. After he'd had his support, he then went on to carry on with his life as best he could do. But he came back to us a few years later, and it turns out that his daughter was getting married, and it brought back a whole load of emotions that his wife and her mum wasn't going to be there for it, and Myton welcomed him straight back into our arms to support him through that. And I think that shows an awful lot about what Myton represents. We're there for people from diagnosis to death, but we're there beyond as well. We're there for families, we're there for loved ones. The journey doesn't stop. We're always there for people.
There was one daughter of a patient, and her mum had given her old engagement ring because her one that she got from her husband had broken. So she managed to get a new ring featuring the diamond from her husband and the diamond from her mum's engagement ring, and she made a brand new ring for her to wear. And her husband's dad was a vicar, so he came in and he did a ring blessing ceremony at our Myton Hospice, because it was really important for both his dad and her mum to kind of witness this ring blessing. They were a very spiritual family, and it was really important for them to all be together. They had their 2 sons there. We provided bunting, and we kind of gave like a finger sandwich and tea, sort of lunch afterwards. And they allowed us to kind of be there, take photos and take the story, and it was a real privilege to kind of witness something that was so important to them.
We had one just recently, actually. We had a lady with us who was in her 50s, and she was very sadly coming towards the end of her life. While she was here, she got married to her partner of 30 odd years. Their son was the best man, and 2 days after she loved alpacas. So on the wedding day, we had organised another surprise for her for 2 days after the wedding, and we had some alpacas come in to the hospice. So the look on her face, I mean, she was ecstatic because we'd facilitated the wedding here. We have a little, what we call a sanctuary, and we made that look like a beautiful chapel, and they got married. It was fantastic. She looked amazing. And then we were able to tell these alpacas. So 2 days after the wedding, the alpacas came in, and they saw every patient as well. They didn't just see her, they went into her room, and then we took them around to the other patients in the hospice that wanted to see them. So things like that. And her husband said he hadn't seen her smile like that for such a long time. And it just those things make a difference.
So if anyone can support us, through your show or for amazing things that you're doing for us, it's all those things that they'll be helping make a difference to people, at a time we've never needed it more as well.
Thank you so much.
That's a pleasure. Thank you very much for interviewing me.